is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Eric, and today we got to start covering the situation with Journey, one of my favorite bands of all time. Top 5 for sure. I've seen them live numerous times, and they've been going through drama pretty much the entire history of the band, but lately it's been getting crazy between Jonathan Cain and Neal Schon, and I thought at least these two dudes would never have this kind of issue because Jonathan Cain has been with the band since 1981 and there have never been any problems. I mean, there has been, I'm sure, behind the scenes, but nothing that I've noticed. I always thought that he seemed like a great guy. He just goes out there and does his thing and that this wouldn't happen. We've seen issues with other members of the band. Even Ross Valory, an original member, and Steve Smith, drummer, both were fired a couple years back. And that seemed to be a big thing, like they were never coming back, which was a big hit to the band to lose, an original member. And now Neal Schon is the only original member technically there. Although Jonathan Cain has been there since Escape, since the band really hit its stride. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a classical member of the band, basically an original member to going back to when they became Journey, when they really became Journey, back when they had a lineup with Steve Smith on drums, Neal Schon on guitar. You had Jonathan Cain on keyboard. Of course, you had Steve Perry on vocals, Ross Valory on bass. That was the lineup, right? You want to stay as close to that lineup as possible. So it hurt when we lost Ross Valory and Steve Smith. Like, they're not coming back. Like, ouch. We already know Steve Perry's probably not coming back. Okay? And I'm okay with that because I think that the guys that they've found have been phenomenal. I love Steve Audrey, and I think that Arnell is fantastic. But if you lose Jonathan Cain, what do you got? I mean, it's almost a tribute band. You have guys like Dean Castronovo, the drummer. Okay, he came along in the late 90s, not 98 or so, around when Steve Audrey took over. And who else? Randy Jackson came back for a while, but Randy Jackson was only a bass player for a very short amount of time during Raised on Radio, but I guess he is a name that goes back. So you can see they're trying to get as many names that at least have some credibility as being former Journey members as they can. But right now, if Jonathan Cain leaves, that's almost like a damn tribute band. Although, it's not, because you do have Neal Schon. But anyway, what is this drama going on? And what's going on here? We have even more news that dropped just recently, I think today or yesterday. So I'm going to try to run through this as quick as possible, get my thoughts, and get yours down in that comment section down below. But the thing that was going on was this credit card, an American Express card. What's going on here? So Jonathan Cain was sued by Neal Schon, who claimed that basically that Jonathan Cain was using this credit card without his knowledge, and he needs those records and everything to see what's going on and what he's owed and on all that. But Jonathan Cain says, dude, this guy just spends money like a crazy man with cars and everything, and he's just has major financial issues, and he's the one that ran up enormous personal charges on the credit card. So they're fighting over a credit card. That is what's going on, and they're saying some really bad things about each other. And I've seen band members talk terrible trash about each other and then still end up back on stage together. I remember with Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, another one of my favorite bands, Jimmy Jamison, who was the second singer. The first singer was Dave Bickler. Jimmy Jamison took over vocal duties. The band had a lot more hits with Jimmy Jamison. And eventually, Dave Bickler came back, and Jimmy Jamison started his own band, calling it Survivor, featuring Jimmy Jamison. Survivor. Frankie Sullivan sued Jimmy Jamison, and his band sued Jimmy Jamison, saying you can't use the name Survivor. And they were just trash talking. It was bad. It was bad, and we were all waiting to see how this lawsuit was going to go. And all of a sudden, one day, Frankie was like, good news, everything's resolved. Jimmy Jamison's back. Dave Bickler's out. We were like, what? What? So you never know. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Jonathan Cain is back or is still with Journey when they go on this big tour that's coming up with Toto and everything for 2023. But right now, it seems insane that they would actually share a stage together. But then we have even more news. Journey hires a new manager amid this lawsuit. Journey's Neal Schon and Jonathan Cain have ceded their co-managerial duties to a new manager, Mike Kobayashi, who confirmed to Billboard on Tuesday that he was just hired by the feuding Rockers. So really interesting. Kobayashi makes up 1/3 of CSM Management, which he launched with Craig Froon and Cheryl Lewis. The music management firm opened in Nashville and LA in 2018. Roster includes other rock and roll heavyweights, Lenny Kravitz, Jeff Lynne, Stevie Nicks, Def Leppard. So they definitely have a pretty good roster right there of bands and artists. It's just crazy. So here it just kind of goes over that legal battle that I just talked about. Schon filed a lawsuit against Cain and claimed the keyboard improperly restricted his access to the account and its documents about the credit card. Cain, in turn, accused Schon of misusing the card, citing his excessive spending and extravagant lifestyle. He said, "All I want to do is see our records. Cain is lying as I do not have full access, as he states. I'm now a 50% owner." Absolutely crazy. And then there's talk of bringing back Greg Raleigh. Now, Greg Raleigh, that's an original member. That would definitely bring some credibility to the band. If you're going to lose Jonathan Cain, that's pretty much your only option. But I don't think Greg Raleigh wants any part of this. Schon is actually, he would love to have him back. Get someone else. Get Cain out of there. They seem to hate each other at the moment. So it's just crazy. I really never thought that anything would come between these two. Not that they were best of friends or anything, but I just thought Jonathan Cain was just seemed like a great guy, laid back dude, and just does his thing. And I didn't see any reason for anything to happen. But without knowing, I do not know who's in the wrong, who's in the right here. But I do know that Neal Schon does seem to have a million cars and does seem to live luxuriously. And I've always thought Jonathan Cain was a great guy, so I kind of tend to believe him. But then again, I'm a huge Neal Schon fan. He's part of the inspiration for why I learned to play guitar and everything. And so at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know who's right, who's wrong, or probably the truth somewhere in the middle, right? But this is crazy. Like, what's going to happen with this band? New manager, new tour supposed to take place next year. What is going to happen? Is Greg Raleigh possibly coming back? I don't think so. And if not, will Jonathan Cain stay in the band? And if not, we got to get some new no-name keyboardist. Who's even injured? Like right now, the lineup for Journey, let's take a look at it before I wrap up the video. So here's a list of the members. Neal Schon, of course. Jonathan Cain is still technically a member. You have Dean Castronova, who came in the late 90s to play drums. He's not a classical member, but he's been around for a while. At least he's a recognizable name with fans at this point. So he's got a little bit of a little bit of clout there. Arnell, of course. And then Jason Derlaka's come on board playing some keyboards lately. Todd Jensen, a very new member, so not a lot of experience with Journey there. He kind of was. It was going to be Randy Jackson. I don't know whatever happened to that, but Randy Jackson obviously is now a past member, so he said screw this or whatever. But okay, decent lineup, but you lose Jonathan Cain and you just put some new name in there that's not one of these prior members like Greg Raleigh. I don't know what you're doing at that point. Of course, Greg Raleigh, he hadn't been a member of Journey since the 70s. I mean, it'd just be crazy if he comes back. So I don't know what to think anymore. You all let me know what you think. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Crazy stuff. I'll try to cover this a little more. Unfortunately, I had to kind of quickly just kind of talk about everything that's happened because I haven't been covering this drama. So I would like to start doing that. Let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll talk to you guys next time.